The church bells were tolling midday when I slipped into the back pew, my heart pounding like it did on those old stakeouts. Emily's wedding, my little sister's big day. She stood at the altar in a cascade of white lace, beaming at her groom, Victor, a tall man with a chiseled jaw and eyes like polished steel. His family flanked him, all sharp suits and foreign whispers, their accents thick with something Eastern European that set my nerves on edge. I hadn't been invited in the usual way, a curt text from Mom 2 weeks ago. If you're coming, don't embarrass us. But here I was, in a simple navy dress that hid the scars from a life they all pretended didn't exist. Emily spotted me mid-ceremony, her smile faltering just a fraction. Victor leaned in, whispering something that made her laugh, a light, practice sound. As the priest droned on about eternal bonds, I scanned the room. Old habits from my days in the shadows. Victor's necklace caught the light, a sleek gold cross. But something about its bulk screamed wrong. I'd seen designs like that in debriefs, hollowed out for microstorage, perfect for smuggling data across borders. My fingers brushed the tiny comms device in my ear, a relic from my retired life as a CIA field analyst. Retired? More like sidelined after I pushed too hard on a case that hit too close to power. The vows wrapped up, and as they kissed, applause rippled through the guests. But Emily's eyes found mine again, this time with a glint of triumph mixed with pity. At the reception hall next door, a grand ballroom in downtown Chicago, the air buzzed with toasts and clinking glasses. Mom pulled me aside first. Sarah, honey, try to mingle. Don't talk about, you know, the job that swallowed my 20s and 30s. The one where I tracked digital ghosts selling secrets to the highest bidder. The job that ended when I flagged a corrupt senator's ties to an arms ring, only to have my reports vanish and my clearance yanked. Emily approached with Victor in tow, her arm looped through his like a trophy. Sarah, you made it. Everyone. This is my big sister. She used to do some tech stuff for the government, but now she's... What? Fixing computers in that little apartment of yours? The group, Victor's relatives, and a few of Emily's real estate buddies, chuckled politely. Victor extended a hand, his grip firm, assessing. Pleasure.
Sarah.
Emily says you're quite the expert in signals or something. Sounds fascinating. His accent was crisp. Not quite Polish as he'd claimed, more like the rough edges of Belarusian ops I'd monitored. I forced a smile. Just old radios now. Nothing special. But my eyes locked on that cross again. Up close. The seam was visible. A telltale sign of a concealed drive. Flashbacks hit, a rainy night in Vilnius, intercepting a similar piece loaded with missile schematics. The operative had slipped away, but not before I memorized the network signatures. Victor touched the necklace absently, and a chill ran down my spine. This wasn't coincidence. As the night wore on, Emily pulled me to a quiet corner during the cocktail hour. Look, Sarah, I'm glad you're here. But could you not loom like that? Victor's family is big on appearances. They're from Warsaw. You know, old money and imports.
And you. Well.
You look like you're casing the joint. Her words stung, echoing years of family barbs. I was the odd one out. No husband, no kids. Just a string of classified failures. Emily had it all, top realtor in the city, closing deals on penthouses for tech moguls and defense execs. Victor had swept in at a gala 6 months ago, promising a life of luxury in Europe. I'm happy for you, I said, swallowing the warning bubbling up. But inside, alarms blared. I'd run a quick check for my car before entering. Victor Nowak? His online trail was too clean, too curated. Shell companies linked to humanitarian aid shipments that screamed cover for black market tech. And Emily's clients? Half were in sensitive industries, their homes ripe for bugs or data lifts. Dinner started. Prime rib and vintage wine flowing. Victor proposed a toast. To family, old and new. May our bonds be unbreakable. His uncle nodded. A burly man with knuckles scarred like a fighter's. Emily leaned into me during the salad course.
See?
He's perfect. Unlike some people who waste their lives chasing shadows. The table laughed again. But Victor's eyes lingered on me. Calculating. That's when I knew. The cross wasn't jewelry, it was active. A faint hum in my earpiece, my old scanner picking up encrypted bursts. Data pings to nearby devices. Likely lifting contacts. Emails. Maybe even blueprints from guests' phones. This wedding wasn't romance. It was a harvest op. My thumb hovered over the earpiece's activator. One word could end it. Shadowfall. The emergency code for imminent threat. Tied to a back channel I'd kept alive despite orders to stand down. But activating meant exposing everything my past. The buried case. The senator who'd torpedoed me. Emily would hate me forever.
As the main course arrived,
Victor stood again, pulling Emily close. My love. You've opened doors I never dreamed. Literal doors. I thought her keys to elite homes, her network a gold mine for espionage. I couldn't wait. Leaning into a fake cough, I whispered, Shadowfall. Minutes ticked by like hours. Emily caught my eye across the table, mouthing, You okay? I nodded, but my pulse raced. Then, the distant whir of rotors. Black SUVs screeched up outside, visible through the ballroom windows. Doors burst open, FBI tactical teams in vests, shouting commands. Chaos erupted. Guests screamed. Chairs toppled. Victor froze, hand clutching the cross. His uncle bolted for the exit, but was tackled. Emily whirled on me, face pale. Sarah? What the hell? Agents swarmed Victor, ripping the necklace free. Federal agents. Hands up. One pinned him to the floor, cuffing him as data spilled from the device, stolen schematics for drone tech. Client lists from Emily's firm. Ties to an international ring I'd chased years ago. Mom rushed over. Hysterical. Sarah, did you do this? I stood silent as Emily collapsed into a chair, her dreams shattering around her. The lead agent nodded at me discreetly. Marcus. An old contact. Good call. This one's big. But as they hauled Victor away, his eyes met mine not with rage, but resignation. You again, he muttered. Again? The pieces clicked. Vilnius. He'd been the ghost who got away. The reception turned interrogation site. Emily stared at me, tears streaming.
How?
Why? I wanted to explain, but the weight of secrets pressed down. This was just the beginning, the unraveling of lies that bound us all. The FBI cordoned off the ballroom, turning crystal chandeliers into stark spotlights over upturned tables. Guests milled in clusters, whispering furiously as agents collected phones and statements. Emily sat huddled with Mom, her mascara-streaked face a mask of betrayal. Dad hovered nearby, his usual stoic demeanor cracked, glancing at me like I was a stranger. Victor, or whatever his real name was, had been dragged out in cuffs, his cross pendant bagged as evidence. But the damage lingered in the air, thick as the spilled champagne soaking the carpet. Marcus pulled me aside to a side room, his face grim under the fluorescent hum. Sarah, you just blew open a hornet's nest. That device? Loaded with proprietary data from half the defense contractors in Chicago. Blueprints for next-gen surveillance tech. Siphoned right under their noses. He paused, eyeing me. How'd you spot it? You've been out for years. Old instincts, I muttered. But it was more. 5 years ago, I'd been lead analyst on Operation Phantom Link, a sting targeting a Belarus-based syndicate peddling U.S. tech to rogue states. We'd traced disguised drives like that cross, ferrying secrets through aid channels. I flagged a U.S. senator's nephew's firm as a laundering front, but the brass shut it down. Insufficient evidence, they said. I was reassigned to a desk in nowhere, then quietly pushed out with a non-disclosure gag and a pension that barely covered rent. Marcus nodded. We cross-referenced. Victor's real ID, Dmitry Petrov. Slipped our net in Vilnius after you ID'd him. He's been rebuilding, using marriages and galas as covers. Your sister's firm was his jackpot, access to homes with unsecured servers. Execs with loose lips. Emily burst and then, eyes blazing. Sarah, what the fuck? You ruined everything. Mom trailed her, wringing her hands. Girls, please. Ruin, I echoed. Voice steady despite the knot in my gut.
Ink.
He wasn't who you thought. He was using you. For what? Selling houses. She laughed bitterly. You're paranoid. Just like always. Chasing ghosts while the rest of us live real lives. Marcus cleared his throat.
Ma'am.
Your fiancé was extracting data from your clients. Trade secrets worth millions on the black market. This wedding? Prime networking event for him. Emily deflated, sinking into a chair. But he loved me. Said I was his fresh start. Her voice cracked, and something in me twisted. I'd seen this before. Mark's convinced the con was real. But Dimitri's eyes in the ballroom had held a flicker of something genuine. Or was that my imagination? As agents wrapped up initial sweeps, Dad approached. Sarah, walk with me. Outside. Under the city lights. He lit a cigarette, a habit he'd quit years ago. I always knew you were different. Sharp. Like your grandma. She worked code-breaking during the Cold War. You know? Never talked about it. But it shaped her. I stopped. What? Grandma was a librarian. He chuckled sadly. Cover story. Signals intel for the NSA. I found out after she passed. Guess it runs in the family. The revelation hit like a delayed fuse. All those family dinners where I'd felt alien. Maybe I wasn't. Back inside. Emily was giving her statement, voice hollow. We met at a charity auction for refugee aid. He bid on everything, charmed everyone. 3 months in, he proposed. Said he'd move his import business here for me. Import business, code for smuggling routes. I'd pieced it together in my tiny apartment, poring over dark web traces after her engagement announcement. The rushed wedding. The family from abroad, it screamed up. Mom cornered me next. Why didn't you warn us? Instead of this spectacle. Because you wouldn't believe me. Remember last Thanksgiving? When I said her ex seemed shady. And you all laughed it off as my spy nonsense? She winced. We just wanted normal for you both. Emily's so vibrant. Successful.
You.
Isolated yourself. Isolated? I was protecting assets, people, secrets, the country. The words tumbled out. Years of resentment bubbling. But seeing Emily alone now. Veil askew. Soften the edge. By dawn. The hall emptied. Dimitri's crew, his uncle and associates, were in custody. Their devices yielding a web of connections. Marcus confided. This ties back to your old case. That senator? Her prints are all over the shutdown orders. Vindication burned. But so did guilt. Emily approached as I gathered my things. Did you really whisper something to call them? I nodded. Emergency protocol. 1 word activates a response team. She hugged herself. Part of me hates you.
But.
Thank you, I guess. Her eyes searched mine. Was any of it real? I hesitated. In Vilnius. Dmitri had hesitated too, a shot fired wide when he could have ended me. Maybe apart. But ops blur lines. As I drove home through empty streets, the city's pulse mirrored my own, erratic, alive with shadows. Emily's world had cracked, but perhaps in the ruins, we'd find something real between us. The senator's reckoning loomed, and with it, maybe my own return to the game. But first, family messy, human, worth the risk. Weeks blurred into a haze of debriefs and depositions. My apartment became a makeshift war room, files stacked on the coffee table, laptop humming with encrypted feeds. Marcus kept me looped in. Dmitri was singing like a canary, trading names for leniency. The syndicate's tendrils reached deep, falsified visas through aid orgs, data heists at elite events, even ties to that senator, Elaine Whitaker, who'd buried my report 5 years back. Emily called sporadically at first, her voice raw. The press is everywhere. Realtor brides spy thriller wedding. Mom's not leaving the house. I offered to come over, but she brushed it off. Just explain more. How did you know? I started small, over coffee at a neutral diner. It was the necklace. Seen it in ops, hides drives for smuggling intel. Her eyes widened as I sketched the basics. My CIA tenure tracking digital arms deals. The Vilnius chase where Dmitri escaped. The shutdown that cost me everything. You never told us, she whispered. We thought you just quit a desk job. Classified. And after the mockery. Why bother? She flinched. I was jealous. Okay? You were always the smart one. Off on adventures, while I sold condos. Calling you useless made me feel better. The admission hung. A bridge forming over years of distance. Mom joined our next meet.
Tentative.
Your father told me about Grandma.
I
pushed you away because it scared me. Secrets destroyed her marriage. Dad revealed more over dinner. Grandma's breakdowns from the stress. The paranoia that isolated her. But she saved lives.
Sarah.
Like you did. As the investigation deepened, Whitaker's facade cracked. Leaked emails showed her nephew's firm funneling syndicate payoffs, $50 million to kill Phantom Link. Raids hit her offices. She lawyered up, denying everything. Dimitri's testimony sealed it. She promised protection, then sold us to Interpol when we got too big. Marcus offered reinstatement. We need you back. Your eye for patterns, it's gold. I wavered. The quiet life appealed, but the itch returned. Emily encouraged it.
Go.
But promise you'll visit. No more ghosts. One night, she showed up at my door, takeout in hand. I found something, a letter from Dmitri, smuggled via his lawyer. Emily, it started as a mark, but you became more. Forgive the lie. She tore it up. Bullshit.
But
it helps. Knowing I wasn't just a fool. We talked till dawn, her dreams derailed. My scars exposed. Laughter crept in, her imitating Victor's accent, me confessing botched ops. Bonds forged in fire. Whitaker's arrest made headlines. Senator indicted in espionage scandal. Vindication tasted sweet, but Emily's hug at the family barbecue afterward sweeter. My hero sister, she teased.
no bait.
Yet doubts lingered. Was Dimitri's affection real? Or another layer? Did saving her cost too much? As I signed reinstatement papers, the question echoed, in a world of shadows. What's the price of light? Reinstated. I dove into the fray. New office in D.C. Same old game. Tracing digital breadcrumbs from Dimitri's network. His deal held. Witness protection in exchange for dismantling the syndicate. Raids across Europe netted key players. But loose ends nagged. Whitaker's trial loomed. Her defense claiming coercion. Back in Chicago for a weekend, family felt different. Mom cooked my favorites. No jabs about my weird job. Dad shared Grandma's old codebooks, yellowed pages of ciphers that sparked my path. Emily, rebounding, threw herself into work, but with caution. Vetting every client now. Learned from the best. One evening, she confessed over wine. I dream about him sometimes. Not romantically, just wondering if any moment was true. I shared my villainous memory. He could have killed me.
Chose not to.
Maybe a spark of humanity. She nodded. Messy.
Huh.
Like us. The trial started with fireworks. Whitaker on the stand, poised, fabrications from a criminal. But Dimitri's video depot crushed her. Dates, transfers, emails. My testimony followed. I flagged the corruption 5 years ago. It was buried. Cross-exam. MS.
Hayes.
Weren't you dismissed for instability? Reinstated for being right, I countered. The jury's eyes shifted, doubt planted. Emily attended, gripping my hand. Proud of you. Post-session. A reporter cornered us. The sisters at the center, comment. No, Emily said firmly. Family matter. Whitaker convicted. 20 years. Cheers in the agency. But I felt hollow. Lives upended, hers. Dimitri's.
Ours.
A final twist. Marcus revealed Dimitri's request. Wants a message to Emily. The shore remembers the wave. Poetic crap. She laughed when I told her. Let him rot with his metaphors. Family healed in small ways. Holidays without tension. Emily dating cautiously. Me balancing work with visits. But the core question haunted. When does protection become destruction? In saving her, had I truly freed us? Or just traded one shadow for another? Months post-trial, life settled into a new rhythm. Agency ops kept me traveling, busting data smugglers in Miami, tracing funds in New York. But Chicago pulled me back. Emily's business boomed. Her caution a strength. Spy sis rubbing off, she'd joke. One crisp fall day, we hiked the lakefront, wind whipping our hair. Remember mocking my career? I teased. She winced. Worst mistake. But it led here, us. Closer. Mom and Dad hosted a quiet anniversary party. No secrets buried. Dad raised a glass. To truth. However hard. Later, alone with Emily, she asked, do you regret the whisper? Never. But I wonder about the cost to him.
To you.
Him?
He chose that life. Me? I'm stronger.
A package arrived anonymously, a USB drive. No cross-disguise. Inside. A note. For closure.
D.
Files showed his op logs, entries softening over time. Target engaging. Genuine connection forming. Recommend abort. Emily read it. Tears falling. Part real. Then. Blurs the line, I said. She deleted it. Doesn't change facts.
But.
Humanizes him. As winter set in, I pondered the moral fog. Espionage taught patterns, but hearts defied them. Had my intervention been justice? Or just another op? The question lingered. A quiet echo in our rebuilt bonds, proof that even in clarity, ambiguity reigns. What price for truth when it shatters illusions?